Hello there, Hydrauliac here. Today we will be looking at a basic load holding example to understand why load holding is important, as well as how to read one in a schematic. To begin, here is a schematic without any form of load holding. When the valve is centered, the cylinder doesn't move. Once the valve is actuated, the pump now has a path to push oil to move the cylinder. However, what happens if we place a load on the cylinder acting in this direction? This portion of the circuit is now pressurized even though it is not connected to the pump. The load on the cylinder is inducing a pressure here. At first glance it may appear that the directional valve is providing some load holding by preventing any oil flow. However, directional valves will have some leakage across them even in this centered position, meaning the cylinder will gradually retract over time. There is also another problem that is even less obvious. There is a delay between when the valve is actuated and when the pump builds enough pressure to move the load. Because oil will always take the path of least resistance, when the valve is actuated, this higher pressure oil will move to this lower pressure side until the pressure is equalized. With this oil moving out of the cylinder will now drop. The load will continue to drop until either the cylinder is fully retracted or until the pump has built enough pressure to raise the load. You can imagine how dangerous this can be if you're expecting the load to move up and it drops instead. This is where load holding comes in. One of the most basic load holding devices is the pilot operated check valve, or more commonly known as a PO check. The check valve prevents backflow. Once the pump has built enough pressure to move the load, the check valve will open, allowing flow to pass through and extend the cylinder. To retract the cylinder, high pressure oil will move through this pilot line and open the check valve to allow flow to pass through from the cap end of the cylinder back to the reservoir. It is important to remember that even though load holding devices can be very effective, you should never trust your life to one. A properly built mechanical lock will always be safer than any hydraulic system. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and be able to help more people. As always, thanks for watching.